Hi, honey. Welcome back to our weekly date night.
We're Mike and Jen.
Just navigating life, marriage, and type 1 diabetes together.
All right, let's get into it.
Hi, honey. Welcome to today's episode. Today's a little bit different. If you can't tell if you're watching this, Mike is not here because this episode is for my ladies. If you're looking for advice for dating with diabetes, this episode is definitely for you. But also, I'm going to kind of go into some other things that I think could maybe help anybody that's in the dating world. I'm not saying that I'm an expert, but I do think I have some great things to share. So anyways, if you're a diabetic and you are not married yet, or you're just a girl dating, maybe this could be for you too. So let's just get into it. When do you tell somebody that you have diabetes? Do you tell them on the first date? Is that too serious? How do you say it? How do you tell them? Just say it. It doesn't have to be some crazy thing. I mean, man, I remember when I was in not elementary school. Wow. I wasn't dating in elementary school. But even then, actually, you know what? Let's go back. When I would be interested in boys, I mean, I wasn't dating when I was 9, but when I would be interested in boys, I would hide it from them. So maybe you're a parent listening to this and you have a child with diabetes. These are such good conversations to have with your little girls, but I would hide it from them. I would go to the bathroom to do things. If I had like a bad blood sugar, I didn't want to treat it around them. Fast forward to teen years. Oh, I made it such a big deal. Like, today's going to be the day I tell them. And I would get nervous and I would let so much time go by before I even did. But my answer to when do I tell somebody that I'm dating that I have diabetes? My answer is right away. Rip the Band-Aid off. And here's why. If you are going to choose to spend your time with someone, you need to make sure, for so many reasons, but you need to make sure that their time and your time is not being wasted. So if somebody doesn't want to date somebody with a chronic illness, because it's a big decision, give them the out in the beginning. Unpopular opinion, or maybe opposite from the advice you'd see on Instagram. And I understand on Instagram or TikTok, they're just quick little videos. But my unpopular opinion is he sucks anyway. Like, toss him out if he doesn't want to date you. No, I think, you know what? If somebody doesn't want to date someone with a chronic illness, that's up to them. And that's fine. Will it sting a little bit? Probably. Yeah, I would say so. But at least you found out in the beginning. At least you didn't waste your time. So my answer to you is tell them in the beginning. If you are having some conversations before you meet for the very first time in person, I would say go ahead and have that conversation. It can be a loose thing, like you're getting to know each other. What's your favorite color? What kind of movies do you like? You kind of get into conversation. You're interested. You think, oh, this conversation could go further. You say, oh, I have type 1 diabetes, so I'm very health conscious. Like, however you want to bring it in. Maybe you're somebody that's like, I'm really adventurous, or whatever. You just find a way to kind of bring it in and just move on with the conversation. If they have questions, they'll ask. If you don't really have a lot of conversations before that first date, on your first date, you're talking, you're getting to know each other. I think the easiest icebreaker is if it's like nice weather or something and you just go ahead and have your like sight showing, or like, I have my twist cassette, or you have to take your shot. Don't go to the bathroom and hide it. Like, hey, by the way, I have type 1 diabetes. So if I'm looking at my phone or grabbing it, I'm just checking my blood sugar or giving insulin. Or if you are MDI, like, hey, I have type 1 diabetes. I'm going to check my blood sugar really quick and give some insulin before we eat. Whatever. That's like the easiest way to ice break. I guarantee you he'll start to ask questions and he's going to be curious and all the things. And then you might find out after the date, depending on how they act, on if they want to continue with it. If they start to kind of ghost you or whatever, and this is honestly for anyone in any date, if they start to kind of ghost you, then just like move along with your life. Hopefully it can be a stand-up guy that says, oh, I want to know more. And maybe he goes home and researches. Or a stand-up guy, even in the sense of a little more disappointment, but like, hey, thank you for sharing that with me. I think that I'm not sure if this is something that I want to move forward with. That's fine. We hate it. That stings, that hurts, but at least it's in the beginning. I'm not going to harp on this anymore, but when do you tell somebody that you're dating, you have diabetes? Immediately. Rip the Band-Aid off, move on with life. All of that to say, the practical things, ripping the Band-Aid off, it kind of brings it to more of the emotional side, the deeper side of things. What if they don't want to continue dating because you have diabetes? That stings a little. I want you to take a moment to acknowledge that. talk with your best friend about it, your close sister, your family, whoever you're close to. Make sure you feel that. Don't write that off. I know some people like to be like, oh, it's because they suck. No, that person might not necessarily suck. Well, depending on how they handled it, but that doesn't necessarily mean something bad about somebody else. That doesn't make you any less special, and it doesn't make them any less of a good person. Again, depending on how they handle it, like that's their prerogative if they don't want to date somebody with diabetes. I want us to get out of that mindset that if somebody doesn't want to date me with diabetes, they just suck. They're a horrible human being. No, they get to have the choice in the beginning. And so I don't love when people say those things because I just don't think it's fair. Then you'll find somebody amazing, like I found Mike, and I will share some example stories along the way of this episode. You'll meet the right person, the person who's curious, the person who studies up and tries to learn and stays curious. But again, there's just that emotional side of it. You need to acknowledge your feelings when things sting when it comes to the dating world and diabetes. A lot of anxiety can come up, like when your alarms are blaring, if you wear CGM, like you have a low blood sugar, high blood sugar, your alarm's blaring, or your blood sugar is going low right when you were about to have a fun like date and you're about to do something fun and you feel like, oh, I just ruined it because now we have to sit here and wait for my blood sugar to come back up. There's so much that goes into that. Use those moments to connect with your partner. So now we're to the point where, okay, we're actually dating, right? We've moved past the first date. This person decides to continue dating with you. Be open with them about it. How a person handles you as a woman who has a chronic illness and you're having a moment of vulnerable emotions, that will speak volumes. That will speak so much into their character and who they are. I remember when Mike and I were dating, and if I would get a low blood sugar, we went hiking once. Actually, it was our first date. That's another episode. But we were hiking and my blood sugar went low and we had to stop. Or was that on our engagement trip? Regardless, the way that he handled it every time was with so much grace and so much patience. There were times I would just like cry from frustration, like I'm so sorry, whatever, just frustrated. And he would just ask questions and be curious. Or my blood sugar was high and my mood was not the greatest. I would maybe like do something moody and then I'd be like, hey, I'm really sorry. I don't really know why. I don't understand why, but sometimes when blood sugar is high, it just makes you some type of way. And so he would have a little more grace for it. With that, just because high blood sugar makes you moody doesn't give you an excuse to treat your partner terribly. It gives you the opportunity to communicate, hey, my blood sugar is high. I need a minute. I'm feeling very short-tempered and like, just let me calm down. I'm upset. I think that's the opportunity to do that rather than having excuses of being crappy to our partners. Diabetes is emotional. It just is. It's a part of our daily lives. There's a lot that goes on with diabetes, but also there's so much more to us than diabetes. Your partner also gets to learn all of the other amazing things about you, what things you're interested in, your hobbies. Diabetes just happens to be along for the ride. So sometimes that burden might feel so heavy that that might feel like the only thing you can talk about with them. But don't forget the fact that you are an incredible human being and there is so much more to you than diabetes. Like, let those things speak volumes. But I understand there is that huge emotional toll of, am I a burden to them? Are they thinking about what this could be like in their future? Are they going to want out? Honestly, in my opinion, have those conversations. If you're feeling those things, have that conversation. Again, a constant theme that you're going to hear me talk about through this entire episode is communication. Communication is everything in a relationship. It is everything in a successful and good marriage, in a healthy marriage. Communication. If you're feeling a certain way, like, is he thinking this? Is he thinking that? Why don't you ask him? Instead of wondering if he's thinking it, why don't you just ask? We don't have to put ourselves on this emotional, crazy spiral. Just ask. Some things you need to work through if you're feeling a certain way, like anger specifically. This is something that I've taken a lot from my counselor. She is incredible. She has helped me to be a really communicative wife because I tend to like not want to communicate. That's my natural default, is to just like hold things in. But if I'm feeling angry, I'm going to hold off on communicating that. I'm going to sift through my feelings and say, okay, where's my heart? Where is this coming from? All these things. If you're asking yourself or telling yourself, like, wow, girl, this is too much. Exactly. If you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, it's going to take work. So you're going to need to work on yourself. That just like plays hand in hand in the dating relationship and with diabetes, because with diabetes, we're constantly having to work on ourselves, right? Like we're constantly trying to have good health. We're trying to keep ourselves in good health. In a marriage, we're trying to keep our marriage in good health. Or dating, again, hopefully if you're dating, you're trying to lead up to marriage. That communication and everything, that doesn't just magically change overnight because you guys said I do. That comes in the practice before then. So if you aren't dating anybody right now, but you're looking to date, you're single, you're dating around, I want to encourage you to work on yourself. All of these emotions that you're feeling with the diabetes things, I promise you, they directly correlate with how you deal with your emotions with everything else. It goes hand in hand. Again, we're more than diabetes. However, diabetes is a part of us. How we respond and react to everything else in life is probably how we do the same with diabetes. So again, communicate. Just communicate how you're feeling. Communicate if you have questions. Do not guess. Do not wonder. If the person you're dating is keeping you guessing and wondering, that's just not even worth your time. I have two really good friends that are single. I tell them all the time, if he wanted to, he would. I could not harp on that enough. If homeboy wants to care for you as his diabetic girlfriend and potentially future wife, he would. He would put in the work and the effort. And that is not one-sided. You also have to put in the work and the effort, and that starts with communication. I feel like I'm going on a tangent here, but we'll just leave it at that. Work on yourself. If something feels off, do not ignore it. Please, please, please don't ignore it. But when something feels off, the first thing I want you to do is ask yourself, is this rooted in my past hurts? Is this rooted in fear? Or is this more like maybe like a feeling you're having? You're discerning something is off. One, communicate that, but not every feeling that you have is the truth. Again, if it's rooted in fear or maybe past hurts that you have, then that's probably just past hurts coming up and you need to deal with that and work on that. I'm a huge advocate for counseling. I'm a huge advocate for finding a counselor that is rooted in biblical truth as well. That's going to lead you and guide you in truth and not in our emotions and feelings, because our emotions and feelings are not always right. Our heart can be deceptive. That's not always right. We need somebody to like speak life into us and guide us in the right direction. I'm a huge advocate for counseling, therapy, all the things. If that feeling that you're having is coming off of like something just off, like I don't know what it is. I know this isn't rooted in fear. Like I'm pretty secure. Something's just off. Don't ignore that. Look into it a little bit deeper and then don't waste your time. I have had friends in the past. I have been the person in the past that thinks I can change somebody, thinks that I can fix somebody. It's like my project. And even if I'm not like straight out saying that, somewhere inside, that's what I'm trying to do. You cannot make somebody be something or some type of way. And I promise you, you do not want to spend your life with somebody that you're having to like tell them what to do constantly. I'm not talking about like, honey, can you please help me with the laundry more? I'm talking like the deeper things. You shouldn't have to coach them through those things. They should want to grow and do that. I'm not saying they're just naturally going to do that. Again, you do need to communicate, but if something's off, don't ignore it, is what I'm trying to say. You can ask yourself, am I at peace or am I anxious and overthinking? If I'm anxious and overthinking, then that's probably rooted in fear. If I'm ignoring something that I don't want to deal with, well, that's not going to get you anywhere good. Dating is, yes, supposed to be fun, but if you are somebody listening to this or watching this and you're dating for the purpose of marriage, yes, it is and should be fun, but also it is serious business. That's something I wish people would talk about more. I did not get married until I was 30 years old. Personally, I'm so glad of that decision. I live in Oklahoma. It is the Bible Belt. So many, many, many people do get married young and start families young. And there's literally absolutely nothing wrong with that. Me personally, in just my journey of life, I think that's God knew I needed to find myself a little more because I was not ready. Anyways, pay attention to the patterns. If he is showing patterns that aren't consistent, that's something to really pay attention to. Consistency is key. How someone shows up is key. If you're around somebody long enough, their character is going to come out. You can only hide like false goodness for so long, so their character is going to come out. Mike and I did get married really quick. We got engaged after 6 months of dating, and then we got married 4 months later. So we were together for a total of 10 months before we got married. Somebody would look at that on the outside and say that was quick. But what I will say is when Mike and I were dating, we did not waste time in the really serious conversations. That would be like a whole other episode on the things we talked about. But when it comes in relation with diabetes, that was immediate. We had those conversations. I asked him, how do you feel about me living with a chronic illness? There are so many potential things that can happen. Sorry, Mike. Mike is in the backyard, just distracted me. There's so many potential things that could happen. Like, we're not going to live in that fear, but it is things that we have to think about. Maybe the average normal person that doesn't have a chronic illness doesn't have to think about, like, we always need health insurance. Or if we don't have health insurance, we need to have an income that provides for us to buy things at cash cost, like at full price. Those are really important things to talk about. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, you can look it up, but I'm pretty sure the number one cause for divorce is money. And diabetes and money go hand in hand. You know this. If you are a diabetic listening to this, and if you have really great insurance, I'm blessed to have with my job, then that's awesome. But something could happen at any moment. I could lose my job tomorrow. Then what am I going to do? These are really important conversations, and I haven't released this episode yet. It'll probably be right after this one airs, but Mike actually talks about planning and how it's really important for a couple to plan for different things in marriage, and then he specifically kind of talks to the men. So that will be coming. But anyways, those things are so important to talk about. We have to plan for the emergencies and things like that. So again, what could happen tomorrow? We never know. What would be if someone passes away? Like, honestly, those are kind of normal marriage conversations, in my opinion, that should be had. But specifically, if you're living with a chronic illness and there's a little bit more dangers, then yeah, those conversations need to happen. So again, yeah, Mike and I got married fast when it comes to like from the outside looking in, but we had like those super serious conversations in the beginning. We tackled all topics. We talked about finances. We talked about how we would want to handle finances when we were married. We talked about emergency medical situations. How would we want to handle those medical situations? Those aren't sexy topics to talk about, but they're really important. I don't care if you're a type A like me or if you're spontaneous type B, those conversations, especially if you live with diabetes, are so crucial to have. This is really, for me, where my faith steps in. I know there's a lot of different people, a lot of different type of people that could be listening or that maybe follow me on Instagram that have all sorts of different beliefs, and I have zero judgment and I have love for everybody. This is how I believe. This is what I believe firmly is the truth. And so I'm going to talk about it. If you're passionate about something, you're going to talk about it. This is where having faith comes in huge for me. I was talking to a girlfriend today, actually, about some things. And I was like, man, that's perfect for this episode too. Discernment versus fear, kind of back into what I was saying a second ago, asking yourself, is this rooted in fear, past triggers, or is there something that's just off? That's maybe discernment. You're discerning something is off. I want you to first check your heart. Where is your heart? Something is off with this person, but I'm so lonely, and like he does make me feel like good and nice and happy some of the time. But when we talk about diabetes and stuff, I feel like he doesn't give two diddly squats, but like everything else is so fun. He's buying me things. He's whining and dining and whining me, however they say that. But something's off. I'm just going to ignore it. No, I want you to check your heart and ask yourself, is it just because I'm lonely right now and like somebody's like giving me like I'm dating somebody? If that's the case, the next step I want you to do when you decide that's what it is, I want you to pray about it. If you're like, me and you don't hear God audibly, because I know I don't, that's where we pull open God's word, because we hear God's voice through his word. And that's just biblical. I mean, even if you are a lucky person that can hear him audibly, anything he says to you is going to align with his word. If you're feeling something and you're like, I think this is from God, but it doesn't align with the Bible, it's not from God. But I want you to check your heart. Then, if you're a journaler, maybe write it down or just like think through it. If you're someone that just can do that, I'm not, I have to write things down. But then I want you to pray. And if you're like, Jen, I don't know how to pray, I don't know how to read the Bible, I don't know where to start, Google is your best friend. Like, um, Bible verses on anxiety, Bible verses on peace. One of my favorite scriptures is Psalms 139. I remember the first time I heard it, it like changed my life, and I always go back to it now. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. I'm going to turn the scripture into prayer. Search me, God, and know my heart. God, you know my heart better than anybody else, better than I know. Like, you made me. So I need you to search it right now, because I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. It says, test me and know my anxious thoughts. Lord, you know my anxious thoughts. You know everything that I'm going through right now. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and like tell you about it, because in any relationship, when we communicate, your partner, like Mike knows me so well. I don't have to say words half the time. He already knows what I'm thinking or whatever. But what a boring relationship that would be if he was constantly just like, well, I know her, so I know that's what she's thinking, but I never verbalized it. That's where the relationship gets stronger, is when it's like constant communication. It's the same with God. I'm just going to communicate with him like, I'm anxious. I'm dating this guy. I feel great when I hang out with him. I'm really lonely. And so now my time's filled up again. I'm constantly doing fun things, but I'm not sure if he actually cares about me as a person. I don't feel cared for. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. Is this rooted out of fear? Is this rooted out of that relationship I had with such and such when all of those terrible things happened? Or are you trying to show me something here? Like, should I close this door? See if there's any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. See if there's any offensive way in me. Is this coming up from the past? Is this something that's from me? Like, he's not doing anything. This is from me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Lead me in the right direction, Lord. Close the doors that need to be closed, open the ones that need to be open, and help me to have the eyes to see which doors I should walk through and which doors I should close and walk away from. With all of that, you should have a healthy relationship. That is not to be confused with the fact that relationships can be hard and you won't always handle things in a healthy way. But if you are two people willing to come together and do the hard work, then you can work through those things. There's no such thing as a perfect relationship. Every healthy relationship that you see 1000% went through its time of unhealth, however you want to say that, went through its hard times. Every hard time that happened grew that relationship closer together to what you see. So if there are relationships that you admire, that you know are so healthy, why don't you ask them, what tough times have you gone through? Can you share with me how you went through them? If they're willing to share those things with you, like if you have that relationship with them. Healthy is steady. It's not confusing. Again, if he wanted to, he would. You should not be confused about where a man stands. I know we started this episode dating and diabetes, but again, this goes hand in hand. With the diabetes, you should not be confused about where he stands with that. He should have communicated. With your whole dating journey in general, you shouldn't be confused. There should be no confusion. There should be no guessing. I am a 1,000,000% firm believer in that, and I'm very passionate about that. My single girlfriends know I start to get a fire lit up inside me, because until I dated Mike, I did not know what it felt like to not wonder. And I wasn't planning to get emotional, but I never had to wonder with him. I never had to guess. He was very upfront about where he stood about everything. And if I felt like he wasn't on something, it probably wasn't intentional, but I would just ask him and then he'd answer me. It shouldn't, we're in a world where we watch movies and shows and Instagram and we fantasize all of these things especially like movies and reality shows. There's all this drama and all this chasing, and the chase can be fun. I did that so much. The chase can be fun, and then you feel like, oh, you won something whenever that person gives you attention, and then they're hot and cold, hot and cold. It shouldn't be that way. That's not what it should be like at all. If he wanted to, he would. There should be no questions. You shouldn't be confused. You shouldn't be constantly questioning things. They should be curious about your life and not annoyed by it. You should be fully yourself and not overthink it. With diabetes, with every area of life, fully yourself, to be fully known and to be fully loved is the best feeling in the world. I didn't put this in my notes, but I do want to add this in here. And of course, especially because I'm so dived deep into the diabetes world on social media, it's a lot of what I see. But don't forget that you're not the main character. In a relationship, it's both of you. So still be interested in him. Diabetes is going to be a huge thing. Of course, it's going to be a huge conversation in regards to like all the different things you can teach him and educate him on. But learn something from him about his life too. Don't forget to do that, because diabetes can be loud. It can be the star of the show sometimes. Just don't forget to also express your like appreciation for all the things that he might do to help you. I know that for Mike, especially in the beginning, he would be a little bit insecure about how to do things or what to do. I used to travel for work. He would be so anxious all the time. And I regret letting him have access to Dexcom Follow so early in our relationship, because he was stressed all the time. Approaching that conversation, instead of being like, oh my gosh, you're annoying me. I know I'm low. Like, I'm treating it right now. Like, instead of doing that, like, thank you so much for caring about me. I love that you care about me this much. Like, I'm treating it. Don't worry, I'll be fine. And just reassuring them, especially in the beginning of the relationship when they don't understand what it's like. As time goes on, he's going to learn you. He's going to know the patterns and all the things. Just make sure that you communicate your appreciation too. I think that's so, so important. Healthy relationships are so much better than the game in the chase. The game in the chase gets old after a while. It's not fun at all. Just don't force something that maybe just looks good on paper. Like, it really needs to genuinely be good. Maybe you're cute in your Instagram pictures, or maybe you have a million people around you saying how, oh, this is perfect. You guys are awesome together. Don't ignore whatever that feeling is that you might have inside. Relationships can be one thing to the public and something in closed doors. I remember the most narcissistic person I dated just for like 3 months. Oh my gosh. But this guy played perfect to all of my friends and my family. And we had like cute Instagram pictures and all the things, but behind closed doors, man, he was so insecure, extremely narcissistic, gaslit me so much. I didn't learn about gaslighting or what that meant until it popped off on social media like a couple of years ago. And it was like after I had already dated that guy, long gone and all that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been in a relationship where he gaslit me all the time. But yeah, but it made sense on paper. Like, the outside looking in, it looked good. It was not at all. Just remember that you are not too much. Diabetes or any other part of you, the right person will not think you're too much. Don't shrink yourself. Be who you are. Yes, you have diabetes, but you're so much more than diabetes. That's a part of you, and it's a very, very important part of you. It's something you have to deal with every single day. But you're not too much. And for the right person, it won't be too much. It might be overwhelming at times. That's a little bit different, but it's not too much. The right relationship won't constantly feel like you're trying to keep it, like you're trying to prove yourself to this person all the time, prove your worth, or all the things. When Mike and I first started dating, I remember I would be so insecure because he had the Dexcom Follow and I was traveling so much. So that did make my diabetes a bit more uncontrolled. I just couldn't get the hang of all the travel and my blood sugars and all of that. And I would start to be a little bit insecure, like, oh, does he think I suck at managing diabetes? Like, is he thinking that this is going to be horrible? All of those things. The right relationship won't feel like you're constantly trying to just prove yourself and keep it. 1 Corinthians 13, one of my favorite verses, something my dad always would read to me growing up and just like speak life into me with this scripture. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It doesn't dishonor others. It's not self-seeking. It's not easily angered, and it keeps no record of wrong. I could go really deep into all of this, but I'm going to let you do that. That's my challenge for you listening to this, watching this. I want you, if you have a Bible, you can look it up in your Bible. If you have a phone, which, you probably have that, look up 1 Corinthians 13, read that, read it over and over, write it on your mirror, have it as your screensaver, see what God speaks to you through that. Look at that scripture when you're dating. When you come back home and you read 1 Corinthians 13, is this man reflecting that? And also ask yourself if you're reflecting that, because again, relationship is a two-way street. You are not the main character, but if he's not reflecting 1 Corinthians 13 love, we want him out of here. It's not worth it. I'd love to know if this resonated with you. I would love to know what you thought of this episode. I know it's really different than what we've done so far, and Mike's not here. I want to know, what's something that you've struggled with dating with diabetes? Or if you have any questions, I'd love to give advice if I feel like I know the answer. Or if you need prayer, you can just drop a prayer emoji. You can DM me on Instagram at hihoney.podcast or at belightjen. I always pray for people that ask for prayer on social media. I just want you to know that. It means a lot to me. It is not something I take lightly. I just want you to really sit with everything you heard. I know that it was probably a lot, and I feel like honestly there's a lot more that I can say. And if you can't tell, my voice is starting to go out from all this talking. If there is anything that you walk out of here with and all the things I rambled on, which I feel like I pretty well stayed on topic. But anyways, it's that you are not too much. Talk about diabetes in the first date. Rip off the Band-Aid. His character will show. Listen to your discernment. Figure out if it's fear or discernment. And just remember that there is so much more to you than diabetes. Okay? I would love to know what you thought of this episode. If you are watching on YouTube and you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button so we can get this out to more people. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, hit that follow button. Again, leave comments on all the things that I said. Do you have any prayer requests, have any questions, or if this resonated with you? I'd love to hear. Okay, I love you. And until next time, we'll see you next time. Bye.
All right, that's it for today.
Thanks for hanging with us.
Be sure you're subscribed or following wherever you're listening.
And let us know in the comments what you liked from today's episode.
We'll see you next week.